Hello and welcome to the Critically Clueless. Today we are going to be reviewing Chivalry 2. So as some of you might already know, I kind of done a first impressions of Chivalry 2 way back when the beta was released. Of course it is out now. I've got my hands on it, and so let's get stuck into it. First of all, what is Chivalry 2? Well, it's an arcade first and third person hack and slash kind of attack and defend sieges. And of course it's set in a medieval time zone, and so you are using weapons of that standard. You're using the axes, swords, that kind of thing, and shields to basically hack and maim your enemies as quickly as possible while pushing objectives. This game is currently on the PlayStation, the Xbox and the PC. It's been published by Trapware Interactive and will set you back at $34.99. So for $34.99, what is it that you actually get? Well, you get a number of siege missions. I have personally played through quite a few, happy to say. Since beta, there are a few more different types of siege missions in place. And of course, you also have the team death matches. There's also a brand new mode in the game, which is a free-for-all mode. So that brings us up to 4 different modes. That mode obviously wasn't back in the game in beta. We also have 4 different classes to choose from in our battles, and every single class has a further 3 subclasses. You get to level up every single subclass. You get to level up as in the world global level, and you also get to level up the weapons that you're using to get newer, shinier and more damage dealing weapons to boot. You can also get a in-game currency in which you can unlock the finer points within the game when it comes to customizing your character. There is a free type of customizing your character, which you can edit your face, your hair, that sort of thing. There are a few things within this that you're going to need a little bit of in-game currency in order to do, like face paint or different types of hairstyle. But overall, I actually quite like the very small details that you could have in it. It's not extravagant. There isn't a huge amount of options, but I did appreciate the, attempt at making the characters customizable. The only downside to this I find is that within this game there are 2 main sides. You can buy gear separately for both sides. Each side has different gear completely. Also, if you are ever going to fight in the free-for-all, there is another setup there as well, in which you will again have to buy all the gear too. So there is potentially a lot of grinding that you can do within this game to get your character in every single mode and on every single side looking how you want them to look. I kind of wish there was a default mode for every single side. That way you wouldn't have to spend quite so much time or money to get your character looking slightly different. From what I can tell within the siege modes, 9 times out of 10 you are up against another player. This is a PvP game, however this is also a PvE game. Something I noticed during the sieges is that every now and again you will come up against bots. These are not bots to replace players that, this game hasn't got enough players. It's not that. They're just there to fill the content for more people for you to have a go at killing. The interesting point is that these bots, they can tear you up equally as bad as a player, so don't underestimate them. But every now and again you have to kill a field of villagers, and they're not actual players. They're just bots, or they're the computer. So there's PvP and PvE elements within this game. I think the biggest question when you buy a game like this, especially this is just a online game, one of the questions you have to ask yourself is how well does it work? And I've got to say that the UI itself is clunky. You've got a few basic attacks. You can kind of do a few different combos, and of course you've got block and you've got parry and that sort of thing. You've got each class also has special abilities, like for instance, you could place down a flag which heals everyone, you could blow a trumpet that heals everyone, you can put down traps, that kind of thing. You also have throwables as well. Not that the game necessarily does a great job of telling you how to do that. However, the one mode free-for-all at the moment just doesn't work. Unfortunately, because everyone's loading in all the time, you've got so many people dying and everyone attacking everyone, the maps just aren't big enough. Everyone's spawning on each other, and of course you get killed by invisible enemies because they haven't actually rendered in for you yet. That mode for me, I would avoid. The other three modes, however, I have found really enjoyable. I quite like them. It's I think I prefer the siege battles. They are quite long. There are different sections and different points, you know, within the siege battles, and they take around 20 to 25 to 30 minutes, depending on how good you and your crew actually do. And overall, they are quite enjoyable. I think the actual world that you get to interact with is quite detailed. Almost everything can be picked up and, of course, thrown at your enemy, which is quite fun as well. You can operate catapults and ballistics. I think that's also pretty cool. You can also, you know, pick up the ballistic arrows and throw them at someone. You can chop off someone's head, pick it up and throw it at someone. You can go to the blacksmith, for instance, pick up the anvil, pick up the hammer. You can pick up so much, even some fruit. You can sit on thrones and all that kind of jazz. It is very much interactable, which is quite cool. If you use the catapult, you can destroy the castle walls and create breaches in it as well. Different extra ways for you to get in, and that as well is a really nice touch. There are some good things within this game. Unfortunately, it is just lacking way too much. There isn't enough story for me. In fact, there is no story. It's priced okay, but considering it is a lot of rinse and repeat, for me, again, that could do some work. And again, it does work, but again, that is a little bit buggy, a little bit clunky, and it just unfortunately dropped scores here and there. Nothing for me necessarily stood out to say this is amazing. The combat itself is fun, absolutely fun. It is definitely more of an arcade game, you know, hack and slash, button smash, that sort of thing. Timing helps massively, but it is not as it's not Dark Souls. You don't have to be on it as much and be an expert, for instance. There is a skill level throughout this game, but you can just come in, swing a giant sword, and you'll be good and dandy. So my score for this game is a 5.5 out of 10. It's one of those games that I would pick up if this is the sort of thing that you think that you would like. If you are after a more polished game or something with a bit more to it, then maybe avoid this for now. I think that this game is going to receive content in the future, and in the future it could be one of those games that, you know, you definitely should have and play. I would say that this game is going to be more enjoyable with people other than on your own, but I played it on my own and I still quite enjoyed it myself. Anyway guys, if you've enjoyed this review, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course drop your thoughts and comments down below. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Catch you later, and I'll see you in the next one. And of course, for all you fine fellows that made it to the end of the video, thank you very much for doing so, guys. It is one of the best ways you can support this channel, so I really appreciate it. And don't forget to comment down below red banana, just to confuse all those folks that didn't bother watching to the end.